No.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you all to the Type 88 show. It's your boy, Dave Noodles. We are on Makeup Park Radio. Today we have not one, but two special guests. This dynamic duo, they be out here working and making things happen together. Grateful to have you guys part of the show. I just want to welcome Jodi Dareal and Shawn McArthur, Divided District Studios. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
It's good to have you part of the show. It's actually the first relationship interview I'm doing with. We're both members, so that's
right.
dope.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So,
Oh wait.
so I know art is something that's a huge part of both your lives.
Yeah. Maybe
we could talk about how like you guys intersected and like became a team or a dynamic duo. Was it through art? Was it just in life?
You wanna?
Yeah, I guess. Wow. Okay, so yeah, I guess both.
It was definitely through art. We met officially at an art event. It was actually the mixer in the pool when they emptied Lions Pool. And it's funny enough, the first time I met him was at a comic book shop, and he snubbed me.
No, I did not.
I say he snubbed me because he was drawing, he was doing his thing. You know what I mean? And he looked up and he's like, "Hey, what's up? Comic book artist, whatever."
That's messed up. 'Cause I was focused. I was just focused on the drawing.
But it was definitely through work. We met through work, so it was pretty cool. And we just been mending ever since. Like, we have our disagreements, like nothing's perfect, but we're still able to communicate in business and in our relationship as well. Like, open communication with everything, even if it's ugly. Like, just let it out. Let's deal with it. So that's been good.
Yeah, just a lot of communication and just teamwork.
Teamwork
makes the dream work.
That's amazing. So I know, you're both from Staten. I know that Jodi, you're from Brooklyn.
Yep.
Shawn, were you born in Staten?
No, I was born in Queens.
Okay, represent.
So we're both hoppers.
Yeah.
And I know that Jodi, you did go to the Urban Academy High School, and to focus on your Trinidadian heritage.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like, I ended up doing that accidentally because I needed to do an art project towards my graduation, and they were like, "Why not just do it about where you're from?" And then boom. So that was a pretty interesting project because it got me thinking about like my past and living in Trinidad and growing up there. Because I moved to New York when I was 10.
Great. I always say, if you don't know your past, how could you make the future history? So
exactly. Yeah.
I think it's important to know about your family and where the roots started and where the seeds were planted to then now plant your own seeds and grow your own garden. And I know you went to Buffalo and you took art history. So like art's just always been with you.
Yeah, like I didn't expect to do art history either. It was like a rough pick. It was like, which one of these will get me out of school quicker? Because I honestly feel, and I say this to my mom all the time, I went to college for her. You know what I mean? Like, her American dream when she moved us out here was for me to get a college education. And it was either that or live on the street. So I was like, roof over my head, go to college, fine.
There you go.
But in the end, I was like, oh, art history is pretty dope. Like, even though I picked it off a whim, I started like really loving it to the point where I used it, some of it in my book.
And that's awesome. Yeah. And we're definitely going to get into that book. I know both you guys, here you go, intersecting in art and life again, both dropping comics, and we'll get right to that. Shawn, I know I was reading about you, and I know you grew up like any kid from the 90s, just loving anime and comics and video games. what was one of your favorite video games growing up?
My favorite video game was Street Fighter.
Street Fighter?
Yeah, I can't get enough of that. Any fighting game pretty much, but mostly Street Fighter.
Yeah, if there's an arcade and there's Street Fighter in the room, he's disappearing for a little bit. Like,
yeah. Oh man, it's like, it's crazy. You play outside, it's a whole different excitement because arcades aren't around anymore. You know, well, at least local arcades where people can just hang out.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I see a booth, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna play a little bit. And she was like, we gotta go. Just one. I'm on match. I'm on match 6 already. You know, I'm about to hit up Bison real quick. And she's like, come on, we gotta go. but yeah, Street Fighter, #1.
That's
and you're obsessing about Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah. Final Fantasy as well. Great RPG, great stories. I just love the design and everything. So like it hit me in a whole different level at the age of like 7. But you know.
And that's cool because, you know, I remember when we've connected. It was you're not the loudest person in the room, Shawn, but like if someone actually takes the time to really sit with you, there's like a whole world. There's like a galaxy inside you, and your creativity and your passion for things and stories and everything has a meaning. So I think this definitely isn't a coincidence. Like it's amazing that you're living your purpose and you're bringing these galaxies in your mind to the world.
Yeah, that's deep. I didn't think we was gonna get deep, but all right, let's do it. So yeah, I would just open one door and it's a whole different place, and then I meet someone, and like my whole thing is if you tap one person on the shoulder and the other person like does it, it just opens more doors. Sort of like the book that I'm doing, Home and Worlds Beyond. But yeah, I like to connect with people. You just approach me, and I try not to, like, I'm kind of introverted that way. I won't, you know, I won't approach you right away, but eventually, yeah.
I think it's a lesson that, you know, people could really take, because sometimes people that maybe talk, maybe they have the most to say, may get the most attention. But I think, you know, if you're a young kid going to school, sometimes the most quietest kid, they have the best things to say. Sometimes they're just, you know, they're thinking about something, or, you know, their imagination is working. So I think it's an amazing lesson that someone could learn just by being your friend, is like, I'm so happy I talked to this person. I almost didn't talk to them because they were a little shy or whatever. But then once you get to know someone, there's a whole world inside people that you could really learn. And it's really cool to just see you guys, you know, really shine together as a team. And what I really appreciate about both you guys, you know, you really, work ethic is a huge thing. Not only are you guys I see a lot of things posted on social media, but sometimes I don't, but I know you guys are grinding super hard. And I think you guys are always like sharpening your sword, and then all of a sudden, you know, there's a book out like 2 months later or something. So, and I think that's,
and it's crazy you say that, because I was telling somebody the other day, I hate deadlines. Like, I hate putting out deadlines. I hate even announcing online, oh, such and such dropping May 18th, because then like my anxiety, and I'm like, oh shit, it's May. I'm not done. So for me, I've gotten into the habit of just writing coming soon. Mm-hmm. And then when it's done, okay, boom, it's done. So that's definitely like not even planned. It's just me, like, because I still give myself somewhat of a loose deadline, but I'll do it like by a season or a few months. Like I'll be done in 6 months, so I'll be done in a season. But instead of giving it like a specific date, I gotta wait until the week of to know, okay, I can confidently say this is coming out on Friday.
Right. You know how like you'll tell somebody, be here at this time? Yeah, pretty much. I would my expectancy is, say, like around September. All right, so fall, I want it out, but I'm not going to give myself too much pressure. Just go with it. If it doesn't hit the mark, you know, I'll take accountability, but also try to do a little better next time. You know, there's a lot of stuff that I feel like in like, you know, creating that people get shaken up by, and I'm like, why? Like, don't worry about that. Just yeah, just push. Sometimes like sometimes I'm a little on edge, and sometimes I have to be checked. You know, so that's pretty much how I feel.
Vice versa. On my end, like if it wasn't for Shawn, I honestly wouldn't have dived into comics. Like I've had people ask me multiple times, like, oh, you should do comics, you draw, you paint, and I'm like, no, that's a different thing. I can't draw like that. And then here comes Shawn, and he's like making it look so easy, and he's like, well, you know how to draw, you could do this, just write something, like, why not? So eventually it got to the point where he just came in and was like 5 pages by April, no excuses. I was in tears. Like, no, what are you saying? I can't do this. You're mean. But I got over it, and even though like intimidated by it, he supported me and he pushed me through it to the point where I'm like, yo, anybody can do a comic.
Yeah.
If you've written a song, if you've written a poem, then you're a writer. You could do it. If you've drawn a doodle or whatever the case is, then just find a writer or write, like, you know what I mean? Anything's possible. So that was definitely something I learned.
Yeah,
being
much,
with Shawn.
It's like the everybody has like this different way of getting things done. Meanwhile, people forget the one thing is just doing the work. Doesn't matter how good or how bad.
Just take the step.
It is just take the step. If you miss the mark, you'll get better next time. If you did good this time, then
you'll get better next time.
Exactly. You know, it's all about progress. You know, people need more patience.
Mm-hmm. And then District Con came, and even that was like, oh, let's introduce ourselves to the world. Like, big kick through the door. Here we are. You've known us before, but now we're like teaming up. Like, so that was pretty cool. So
that's amazing, and it's great how you guys hold yourselves accountable. But you know, and it's in a loving way. You know, because I think we all have different needs, especially in a relationship. And like, we know how to push someone, or we know how to push their buttons. Sometimes it could be both at the same time. So it's good that you guys have found a balance with pushing each other without pushing each other off the edge, you know, and of course, you know, relationships aren't easy. It's great how you guys, you know, you really bounce off each other and make it all work.
Right. You're driving each other nuts sometimes.
Yeah, like some days it's just like we're losing it on each other, but we try to find like the fairness in it, like, you know, the fairness in her thoughts, the fairness in mine. We just lay it on the table and be like, look, all right, maybe I shouldn't have said this. What I really mean to say is, and
both sides have to do that, you know, because sometimes even if side A had good intentions or side B had good intentions, perception is a hell of a thing. Like, people's minds are different. So if somebody says, this made me feel like this because of this, even if you didn't feel it, you know, that other person has their own feelings. So that definitely, like, being more understanding, like,
be open.
And
we
had to learn.
Empathy.
We had to learn to get along, because, like, honestly, at times I could be a lot more aggressive, especially in business, because you've seen me, Dave. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, screw you, give me my moment. So Shawn's definitely helped me like melt away, because over the years, like just going through dealing with different things, like as a woman in business, to finally have a partner that's like, hey, get your shine, man. If anything, get more shine so I can quit my job. Like,
Yeah. One of us, like, we both are dying day jobs.
right?
Yeah.
But no, speaking of my day job, freaking, I just did a project with you, right?
Oh man, yeah. That was.
But we'll talk more on that. But yeah, no, we'll just bump head for days, no problem. But as long as it comes from truth, we know what to do, and that's the whole thing. As years go by, I became a whole different person with her. You know, I've been more stern, strict, not tolerating much of the nonsense. But
Because you know, in the beginning, you like to push the buttons, like, how far can I go? And like, no, Shawn shut it down immediately. Like, no, stop. We're not doing that.
Communication. There you go. Communication.
Like, no, I don't like when you do this. Okay, I got you. My bad. So it's been dope. And even like him wanting to do divided district, it was almost like we met at like the right time, because like I was launching off into like, I didn't even know. It was sort of like I was starting anew, and then he was launching off with his comic book, like with his comic book drawings, etc., with the illustrations, and heading to his first comic book convention, and even that was an experience for me, to the point where now we're pushing our own stories and encouraging people like, hey, if you have a story, come get it published. You know what I mean? We pay for the publishing, you get 90%. Like, you know what I mean? All we do is get 10% back once the books are sold. So come on down. You have a story, you need help writing, we'll help you write it. You need help drawing, we'll help you draw. You don't need help and you just want our logo, come on down.
yep.
You know?
That's real, and that ties into the whole theme of you know, the vibe of what we're pushing. It's, you know, build a door. You know, if opportunity doesn't knock, or
you gotta build
someone, like if the door doesn't, someone doesn't open the door for you, don't get down on it.
Yeah.
Build the door, or maybe in your case, paint the door.
Paint the door.
Oh yeah.
Right, and then he's gonna ink the door.
So I really think it's great that you guys have, you know, you're painting your own path.
Yeah.
In a you know, any industry, there's gatekeepers, there's you know, the corporate side of things, and I think you guys have you guys have creatively mixed business with your love for something, and now you're opening the doors for other people. So how were you guys met? Maybe when you kind of came in the industry, were doors opening? Did you have to knock them down? How did that? Because I know it's a competitive world.
Right. So when it came down to doors, we try to go through them, you know, as you know,
as a comic book artist.
Oh, as
it, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I didn't go to school for it. I just practice, and you know, in my head sometimes. And one person, I was watching this video on YouTube of Kobe Bryant, and he pinned it. He was just like, you know, you got to have like a competitive spirit, but you got to also be able to humble yourself. You also got to be open to learn and trust the other eye other than your own. So in that sense, I try to put those together and constantly stay driven, constantly stay hungry, constantly just, I don't know. But
I mean, and even I've like just been watching from the sidelines because it's still his world. Like I'm still new to it.
I mean, it's our world.
It's our world now, but I still there's still things I do that Shawn would be like, that's wrong. Don't do that.
Right.
But I mean, like, as far as like artists in the game, I've noticed a lot of artists, whether he met them at conventions or he met them through other artists, have reached out and giving him like a helping hand, like because they see like him working and especially the progress from like when he started then to where he is now. Like a lot of artists in the game, especially like Marvel and Disney and those guys that are in the cut, those who know, those guys have been reaching out to him. Like in the beginning, they were like, that's nothing. But now they're like, yo, like, are you coming to that convention? Or like, oh, and they all showed up for DistrictCon. I was like, whoa, they all showed up for DistrictCon. So I think in the comic book world, I've seen a lot of love. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
You know what? I did say, sorry, I missed the mark. But the thing is, yeah, you're right. You know what I mean? A lot of cool people is great. And they also love what you do and you love what they do. Sometimes, you know, it's a great feeling to know that you're not alone in this.
Yeah, and the work ethic speaks for itself. And if you could actually, if you had someone, you know, or like an invisible timer that clocked you how many hours you've actually spent creating.
Oh, he actually had a timer.
Yeah.
Do you have any estimated number of how many hours you've actually put into your craft? If you had to guesstimate?
No, I have an actual number.
Yeah, for one of his pages, the Procreate logs how long he's been working on the page.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did one page for 100 hours, but the longest I've ever drawn straight and like created was 29 straight, twice.
Wow.
One
when I was I say that like it's a big achievement. Wow.
No, that's a lot. I can't draw for that long.
I can't
only draw for my
do
books
anything.
Sometimes. Like he just draws to draw. Like he's like, my hand is bored, and he'll start drawing some random character, and I'm like, I'm just sitting here watching TV. Like he's like, no, I should draw.
29 hours straight.
Yeah.
29. That's counting fallouts too. Like I would like be half asleep and nodding off. Yeah. But yeah, I did like 2 24-hour comic book challenges that I both failed. And I was like, you know what? If I don't make 24 hours to finish 24 pages, I'll just finish and I'll go to sleep till I finish. That's, you know, that's my character thing. I haven't done it in a while because there's no time, but I love doing it because it, you know, it just pushes you to become better.
That's just pure discipline and commitment.
Yeah.
Because I have difficulty doing things for 20 minutes, like in a row. And to be there for 29 hours,
yeah,
that's you're creating your own luck at that point. You're not hoping that things align. You're putting your blessing to the test, and you're literally carving your path, because I'm very confident Kobe, when I read his book Mamba Mentality, you know, one of my favorite
I gotta pick that
players
up.
of all time, the difference with him was he was studying while people were partying. And there was an instance with Iverson where they had a great game, and then Iverson's like, hey, what are you doing after the game? You want to go party? We're going out here. He's like, no, I'm studying tape, and I'm gonna actually get ready for my game tomorrow and watch what I did today so I could be better tomorrow. So that's amazing to just hear about the dedication of that. And I feel like anyone who puts so much time, no matter where you are in the set, you are now putting time in your favor. And I think that's what really separates, Biggie says it, the weak from the obsolete, you know, like like
Oh.
and that's dope. And to hear that, and it's so cool to just see proof, you know, because I growing up, I think parents, they always want to see that you're actually doing the thing you say you want to be. You know, it's like they don't, they believe that you're a rapper. They believe, they believe in you, some of them, most of them, hopefully.
Yeah.
But they don't believe it until they see a track, or they don't believe it until they see you on the stage. I'm kind of similar, where I like have to see, like, oh, you got busy with design. Let me see what you've done. And it's great that you both have put out some heat over the last few weeks. Jodi with Euphoria and Shawn with Home and Worlds Beyond, literally back to back putting out comic releases. So that's a beautiful thing. How did that feel to just kind of, work so hard on a project and then, just share it?
It felt great to release it until I realized, oh, I have to draw issue 2. But no, after putting in like a year of like craziness, it was awesome to see it like finally done and people reading it, and they're like, oh, this is different. Like, wow, I've never read something like this before. Like, because that's the goal, really, to like draw on the things around us, but at the same time write original stuff. Like, there are too many remakes out there, and people like us, like writers, artists, who are producing original material, but no one's listening. So that's why Divided District's really dope, because it's like, no, we'll listen to you. Yeah. You got a movie about Barney being like some serial killer. Like, let's do it. Like, yeah, whatever. But it's different. So let's dive in.
And then not only that, but like, there's also a bunch of creators, like, throwing in tips like, hey, you should do this, and connecting. And just like, even though like I said before, everything's on the table. So you're working with Divided District. You're pretty much in a relationship. Sometimes the relationships don't work out. Truth be told, sometimes the relationships don't work out. Sometimes it's once again, going back to accountability, and then also putting the time in, and then you finally have the book that you've always wanted to read. So it's a crazy feeling, because for me, I was like, I didn't want to do it, because sometimes I overthink. I'm like, oh, this is such okay. This is pretty good. Okay. We're gonna do it. Let's do it. And some days I'm just like, all right, post it. But I think it's, and
a lot of it is like finding people to keep up. You know what I mean? Because not that we're going that fast, but you would want people around you who are like, next project, let's do it. Release, move on. Because then when that day comes and you're like, oh, you've been gone forever. It's like, oh, I thought you were next door. Like, you know what I mean? And a lot of relationships get stopped because of that. And I have to always keep reminding myself, like, it's just business. It's not personal. And we've had to say that a million times to people. I was like, listen, we still love you, but we're moving forward, and we still got respect for you. But this is what we're doing. People didn't think DistrictCon was possible. Yeah. They were like, Divided District Studios, you guys are new. Like, who are you to throw this event and bring all these people? And I'm like, the company is new, but Shawn's not new. He knows a bunch of comic book artists, and I'm not new. I've been doing events and stuff in Staten Island for a while. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, we got this in the bag. Shawn can fill the building with comic book artists. I can fill the building with painters and vendors. It's a wrap. That's all we need. and then we had a space, boom, all
Yeah.
the pieces for an event were done.
Yeah.
So
Just broke it down.
yeah, so a lot of that, it kind of sucks that it had to be that way, but a lot of that was like, who are these guys? What are they doing? I was like, no, we're just doing what everybody else is doing. We're hustling, but we're sacrificing a lot to put it towards our company and our dreams. So it's like you said, sometimes we just don't go out to parties. Sometimes we're eating once a day. Like for DistrictCon, there were days we didn't eat because we were like, nope, that 20 needs to go in the jar because we have to pay for this or we have to pay for that.
Yep.
So it was crazy, man.
We just had to, like, we just made sure we managed everything as humanly as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
The outcome is great.
Yeah.
But I want to go out sometimes and hang out and just go to arcades or watch a movie. Can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
So for anyone that wants to pick up these new books, where do they get it? And
you get it at divideddistrictstudios.com.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And is that's going to be available soon on printed copy? And I know right now it's out for digital.
Yes. Right now it's out for digital, but as soon as, I mean, things looking like they're about to open up, it's here or there. But if things get more open, we're definitely going to start printing some physical copies real soon.
Yep, and we'll have a grand opening for that.
Like a release party of sorts for that as well.
That's great. Yeah. And just say we have a young person or just a kid of any age that, you know, they have this killer idea and they really want to, but they don't know where to go. And, you know, they're trying to build a door, but, you know, they listen to this and they're like, oh, maybe I can knock on their door for this. How do they follow you guys? Where could they, you know, get you guys and get to you?
Oh yeah, so
Facebook.
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, Divided District Studios. Also, you can also email us at divideddistricthome@gmail.com. You can find us in Twitter. No.
No, we haven't. I haven't used Twitter in ages. So no Twitter. But yes,
there you go.
Those three things.
we're like, as more as we connect, like we feel that we have to connect to more, and we'll baby steps.
Right, little by little. Eventually, the full website will be up and running. For right now, it's just featuring our comic book pages.
That's excellent. And I could probably talk to you guys for hours between all this stuff. But maybe let's leave it on this. For being a dynamic duo or anyone that's just starting to, you know, with a dynamic, you know, just like a relationship advice, what's the best relationship advice you could give as, you know, as business partners and partners in this world that you could give?
For me, like, main thing, open communication, and by that, not only like being like transparent and saying what you mean, but also being able to listen to the other person, you know what I mean, and like be compassionate as far as like their experience, because that's been a big thing like with us. It's like, oh no, we can't go to bed angry, let's sit down, let's talk about it, and we'll figure it out before we're like ripping each other's throats the next day. Because me personally, I'm all about vibes and auras, and once, even if I'm in the living room and he's in the bedroom, I could feel that anger through the room, and I'm like, nope, peace and love, harmony in the room, let's talk. What about you, baby?
I feel like, well, it's just give it 100%. You know, if you give 100%, I give 100%, that's 200%. And pretty much like simple math.
It's like simple math. Just give it your all.
But yeah, just now you have to realize that you are part of someone else's life and time and all of that. So,
and we're a team.
and we're a team.
So it's like
So
strength and weaknesses, you know, not being afraid to pick up the slack when your partner falls, but at the same time, when you are falling, being humble enough to say, you know what, I'm going to take your help. So it's a lot of that as well, dropping the ego. Like,
yeah.
Because we both have those moments like, no, I know how to paint. How are you going to tell me? But then sometimes Shawn would be like, well, maybe the color's wrong. And I'm like, fine. And then I realized, you know what, the color was wrong. Or even with Shawn, it's like, I'll be like, babe, you should try this shot. And he's like, no, this shot is fine. But then later on, he'd be like, you know what, that camera angle could have been different. So you got to drop your walls. You
got to be open and be wide open. And, you know, and people think that is an attack, but it's actually more of, it's her getting my 6. I got her 6. And, you know, in a human peripheral, if you got someone 6, that means that's half the room, you know.
It's a video game.
And I got that. Yeah, that's half the room. Can you imagine like 2 superheroes or something like that having half the room? You see it all the time in movies, and it's always awesome that way.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah.
I got his back and he got mine.
That's beautiful.
And
it's amazing to see you guys really bounce off each other. We got to do another one of these because I feel like we have to do chapters with all the combos we can talk about.
6 times.
But if you're out there, you're listening or watching, make sure to support my people right here. Make sure to cop those 2 new books.
Yes.
We got Home and Worlds Beyond by Shawn McArthur, Euphoria by Jodi Dareal, and make sure to support Divided District Studios and be on the lookout for new releases. And if you have ideas and you're trying to kick down the door in the creative comic world, they'll help you build that door. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So guys, you're always welcome back. And I appreciate you both, and I hope you both stay safe.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you.
We appreciate you, bro.
Have a great night, guys.
You too.
Have a good night.
Dave.
Bye.
Hey, guys.
Goodbye.